are going to uh, know a new story. And the story is our, what is the name of the story? The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet. Right? In the story, The Last Lesson, the writer Alphonse Daudet wants to share his sadness, okay, with us, especially those who read the story. Actually, he in this story expresses
the sadness that, understood, we sometimes experience. Understood? What is this sadness actually of life? Sometimes our bad experience saddens us. If somebody does something bad, that also saddens us. In this story, you know, the writer is sharing a very sad incident. And the incident is about the sadness. Understood? A sad news that the teacher breaks. What is that sad news all about? The sad news is that a teacher, his name, the protagonist of the story, the main character, is Mr. M. Hamel. Understood? M. Hamel is the main character of the story. And in this story, what does he do? In the story, the last lesson, the protagonist or the main character is M. Hamel. M. Hamel is a teacher. What subject does he teach? He teaches French. Okay? He teaches French. Where? In a country called Germany. You know, Germany, France, Italy, these are all European countries. Okay? Naturally, he, M. Hamel, enjoyed teaching this subject. Which subject? French. Right? French was the subject that he used to teach. Where? In a German school. Right? Clear? The sad news is that that man who taught German, understood, the man, sorry, who taught French in German school, okay, feels sad. Why does he feel sad? Because it is it is their last lesson. What was their last lesson? It was their last French lesson that he was going to teach in school. Understood? You get it what I'm saying? And the student who finds very difficult, the student who finds it very difficult to learn German, and at the same time he enjoyed learning German because the teacher who took or who taught German in who taught French in German school was a very good teacher. He was good at teaching French, understood? And he made the students in the class enjoy his That teacher who taught French in German school, that fellow made Mr. Hamel. Understood? Mr. M. Hamel made his French class interesting. Did you understand? As his French class was very interesting, naturally, the students enjoyed his class. The students who learned French from Mr. M. Hamel, clear, enjoyed learning French because that teacher taught French with emotion. Understood? It was full of vigor, full of emotion. Naturally, when you try to teach your student with emotion, with seriousness, with love, naturally the class will be interesting and the student in the class will enjoy your class to your heart's content. Understood? Naturally, you know, the students in his class were very happy. Clear? And sometimes here, French is a student. French is a student who attend his class. Attend the class of Mr. M. Hamel. Clear? And in that class, what did he do? He was afraid of he was afraid of attending his class. Why was he afraid of attending his class? Because he was not prepared with what was he not prepared with? Participants in grammar. Yeah. So he was afraid of attending his class today. Right. And that, you know, he was sharing, understood, his pain, sadness. Clear. Hamill actually was a good man. He was good at heart. Understood? He was a good teacher. Now, the story begins with whom? French. What did French do? The story is about this boy who is learning French. And what is his name? His name is French. French is the story is about French, a little boy, right? French is a little boy, school going boy. Today he is late. Today, what happened to him? One day he is very late. And what happened?
When he reached school, he saw a crowd before the bulletin board, right? What did he see? The bulletin board had an order from Bali saying that saying that what did the order have? What did the bulletin board had? Had an order from Berlin saying that German would be taught in schools. German would be taught in schools. Why? Because the order said that want French to be taught. Clear? That was why that very order was a sad thing. When he reached school, you know, school was very quiet. Unlike other days. Right or not? The school was quiet. And what are the other things he saw? He saw many village people sitting in the class. They also felt very sad. Clear? And he, French, feels sad. Why? Why is he feeling sad? He feels sad because he shared two things with us. What are those two things? Number one, what happened? He did not what? He has number one, he wasted his time. Number two, did not learn his own language. These are the two things. Number one, what are the two problems he faced? If you are taught, if the school says that from now onwards you will learn German, because an order from Berlin doesn't want the school, understood, to teach French. And if you had been taught French all the year round, and out of the blue, if it is announced, or if the student comes to know that an order from Berlin had stopped, understood, the teaching of French in the school, understood, or instead of French, German would be taught, the students must not take it very lightly. They will feel sad or not. What saddened the student was introduction of German in the schools. Clear? So the students feel sad. What he notices, he recognizes, or he realizes that he has wasted a lot of time and did not learn his own language. Because if you are killing two birds with one stone, is it possible for, suppose if I am a Bengali boy, understood, if suddenly out of the blue my school introduces a new subject called Hindi, understood, so, and if the new teacher teaching Hindi is very good teacher, he makes his class very interesting, and if we enjoy learning Hindi, then what will happen? Automatically my own subject Bengali will be neglected. And the same thing happened with him. Understood? France did not give proper attention, understood, to his own subject, that is German. As a result, he shared his sadness with us. He said that he did not what? He realized that he had wasted a lot of time and did not learn his own language, that is German. Is that clear? Have I been able to make you doubt very clear?
Yes.
That's how the story came to an end. And he returned home with heavy heart. When you return home with heavy heart, what do you mean to say? You felt sad on the day you came home, and when Mr. Hamel announces that it was their last French class, doesn't it sadden the people inside the classroom? Doesn't it sadden those who have come? Because at the same time, that fellow, he loved teaching French and he enjoyed teaching French. And when an order from Berlin, understood, came, understood, and he came to know that from tomorrow onwards, this subject won't be taught in the school, was it a very good news to receive? It was not a very good news to receive. So it saddened him. The news, understood, that German would be taught, understood, in schools from tomorrow onwards. What? Is this a very good thing to announce? No. He felt very sad. And at the same time, he also said that French should be protected. Why would French be protected? Because French was one of the most beautiful languages. That teacher said French is a very beautiful language and it must be protected. And in French language, what did he say? Vive la France. It means long live France. Long live France means he wants the French language to live long. Understood? Vive la France. It means Long live France. Is that clear? With this, the story come to an end. The story came to an end. With this, with a announcement made by the teacher that what he wanted to say, he said. He wanted the children to know was that he made the he did not he made the value of the French language known to those inside the class, especially the students inside the class, as well as the elders who came to understood the class that day. They also felt very sad when they came to know that French would not be taught. Understood? And this is the story. So I think you have understood. Is that clear? Have I told this story nicely? Okay, in our next class, I will tell you the story. But as this is as I wanted you to answer these questions, naturally I told the story. But in our next class, I will tell you the story, and I'll when I will be writing the pretty lengthy answers to questions, then I'll tell you the story again. Okay, now question number 1: what was French expected to be prepared with for school that day? No, that day or the day?
That day.
So first mistake. So what will be the answer to this question? France was expected to be prepared with
France was expected to be prepared to be participles of grammar.
was expected to be prepared with participles in grammar, right?
Yes.
He was expected to be prepared with participles in grammar. Okay. What did Franz notice that was unusual about the school that day? What was unusual?
France noticed that
The school was very quiet. Understood? Unusual.
Unlike
Unusual. Unlike other days.
Yes.
And then, what are the other things you notice?
Usual days there was no noise and everyone
Because normally there was no noise, but today normally there was lot of noise. Sorry. Normally the school classroom there was lot of noise in the classroom. Understood? But on that very day the school was very quiet. Is that clear?
Yes.
It was because the order that came from Berlin. Understood? And that announced the what?
Everyone was very serious.
Withdrawal of a vital class called French. French was going to be abolished. Clear? French was going to be stopped. Stoppage of French language.
Yes.
Okay. What had been put up in the bulletin board?
The bulletin board had
an order from Berlin saying that German would be taught in schools.
now.
Right? So the last question: what had been put up in school board? What had been put up in the bulletin board? What had been put up in the bulletin board? Wait, listen to me. What had been put up in the bulletin board? An order. Understood? An order from Berlin. Clear? The bulletin board had an order from Berlin that saying that French and a German would be taught in schools now. You see the answer? Oh, why do you look at this? Look at me and say, what had been put up in the bulletin board? Bulletin board had an order from Berlin saying that French would not be taught, German would be taught in schools. With this, I come to the end of this class. If you think that the class that I had taken was interesting, give me at least one like. Bye. একটা লোকও আসেনি, হ্যাঁ?